What if the one thing you've been told to do to protect your heart is the very thing that's wearing it down? For millions of older adults, walking isn't helping, it's hurting. But no one's talking about it. Until now. In this video, we reveal the 5 silent movements that could save your heart without leaving your chair. Don't ignore this. It might change everything. What if everything you thought was good for your heart actually wasn't? What if the advice you followed for years, just take a walk, it'll help, isn't just outdated, but potentially harmful for millions of older adults? It sounds shocking, even wrong, but for many people over 65, this well-meaning suggestion may be part of the problem, not the solution. You see, walking isn't the gentle, heart-boosting exercise it used to be. Not when your knees ache, your hips feel unstable, and the fear of falling haunts every step. Not when fatigue hits before you reach the end of the driveway. For countless seniors, walking has become more of a stressor than a savior, and yet we continue to believe it's our only option. Thanks for joining us here on Voice of Age, a warm space for real talk about life, health, and heart in our later years. Today, we're going to talk about something that rarely gets said out loud. Walking might not be enough. In fact, for many older adults, walking might be holding them back from discovering the movements that actually support their heart, their circulation, and their confidence. But here's the good news. You don't need to walk 5 miles a day to strengthen your heart. You don't even need to leave your house. In this video, we're revealing 5 doctor-recommended alternatives to walking. Movements that are gentle, safe, and specifically designed for aging bodies. These exercises require no gym, no expensive equipment, and no pushing through pain. What they do require is your attention, your presence, and your willingness to take back control of your health. And before we go any further, if you believe in the power of small steps to create big change, consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, heart-centered content for people just like you. So, why does this matter? Because your heart doesn't just beat, it works. It works harder as you age. It fights against gravity to push blood upward from your legs. It compensates when circulation slows due to sedentary habits, weaker muscles, or tight arteries. And when the simple act of walking becomes difficult, your heart starts paying the price. But here's where hope enters the story. There are movements, quiet, almost invisible ones, that can relieve that pressure. Movements that mimic the best parts of walking without the strain. Movements that allow you to sit in your favorite chair and still help your body heal. These aren't fitness routines. They're gentle invitations to remind your body it's still capable. They're a way to reconnect with parts of yourself that may have grown distant. The part that feels strong, that feels purposeful, that feels alive. Imagine doing something as small as lifting your heels off the floor and feeling the blood in your legs begin to flow again. Imagine pressing your palms against a wall and feeling your chest open, your breath deepen, and your confidence return. Imagine doing a tiny, quiet motion and realizing you've just given your heart a break it desperately needed. This isn't about getting in shape. It's about reclaiming your right to feel well, to move with dignity, to age on your own terms. If you've been looking for something different, something realistic, empowering, and designed for where you are today, then stay with us. Because what comes next might just change how you feel about exercise and about aging itself. It often surprises people to learn that one of the most powerful ways to support heart health doesn't involve standing up, breaking a sweat, or even walking at all. It starts with something far simpler: sitting down, placing your feet flat on the floor, and moving with quiet intention. This is where the seated leg pump comes in. At first glance, it may seem too small to matter, but for older adults, especially those over 65, this tiny movement can make a world of difference. Not just to circulation, but to confidence, clarity, and control over their own well-being. When we talk about the heart, we usually think of it as the central engine that powers life. But very few people realize the crucial role the calves play in keeping the heart strong. Cardiologists often refer to the calf muscles as the second heart because of their unique ability to push blood upward against gravity and back toward the chest. Every time you contract those muscles, even just a little, you're helping your body maintain healthy circulation and relieving pressure from your heart. For many older adults, sitting for long stretches of the day isn't a bad habit. It's a necessary part of life. Whether it's resting in a recliner, waiting in a doctor's office, or enjoying a quiet afternoon with a book, these moments of stillness can add up. Unfortunately, they can also cause blood to pool in the legs, leading to swelling, cold feet, fatigue, and even dangerous complications like blood clots. That's why the seated leg pump is so powerful. It transforms passive sitting into active circulation. The movement is as simple as it is effective. Lift your heels while keeping your toes on the ground. Hold for a second, then reverse, lifting your toes while keeping your heels planted. Repeat in a slow, steady rhythm. This gentle pattern mimics the mechanics of walking without putting stress on your knees, hips, or back. For those who've been told to avoid high-impact movements, this is a safe, low-barrier way to stay connected to your health. But beyond the physical, there's something else that happens, something deeper. This small act of motion can rebuild the bridge between your mind and body. For many, illness or aging can create a quiet kind of disconnection, a sense of helplessness, or even resentment toward the body for no longer doing what it used to. But the seated leg pump interrupts that pattern. It invites you back into the process. It says, you're still here. You can still move. You can still make a difference in your own life. I once met a man named Charles, a retired electrician in his early 80s who had stopped walking due to severe vertigo. He told me that just 5 minutes of seated leg pumps each morning made him feel like he had rejoined the team. It wasn't about fitness for him. It was about belonging again, participating in his own care. And that's what this movement is really about. It's not just for your legs, it's for your spirit. A signal that even in stillness, there's power. Even in limitation, there's possibility. Even while sitting, your body still remembers how to heal. There's something quietly powerful about discovering strength where you least expect it. In a world that constantly measures health by how far you can run or how many steps you take, it's easy to overlook the simple, grounded movements that rebuild resilience from the inside out. Two of these movements, wall push-ups and seated leg lifts, offer more than just physical exercise. They offer a reintroduction to your own body, a gentle awakening of muscles and confidence that may have gone quiet over time. Wall push-ups are often dismissed because of their simplicity, but that's precisely what makes them so effective. They're accessible, grounding, and profoundly beneficial, especially for older adults who've been told to be cautious, to move slowly, or worse, to stop trying. Standing just a couple feet from a sturdy wall, you lean in and press back. No strain on the knees, no fear of falling, no demand for perfection. And yet, with each repetition, you're engaging your chest, shoulders, arms, and core. You're encouraging blood to flow more freely through the upper body, opening the lungs, expanding your breath, and reestablishing your presence. There's something sacred about that motion, leaning into something and pushing away from it with control. It mirrors life in many ways. The challenges we face, the boundaries we test, the inner strength we didn't realize we still had. I remember meeting Linda, a widowed grandmother who hadn't exercised since her fall 2 years prior. She was hesitant, unsure, convinced she'd lost all her strength. But wall push-ups changed that. She started with 3 a day, then 5, then 10. She told me, it wasn't just my arms getting stronger. I started feeling proud again. And then there are seated leg lifts. Deceptively simple, quietly transformative. Sitting in your chair, back straight, you lift one leg off the floor, hold, and lower. It seems like such a small action, but behind it is a cascade of benefits. You're activating the quadriceps, hip flexors, and stabilizing muscles that help you walk, stand, and balance. You're improving circulation to the lower body, supporting your heart by helping blood return upward without making it work so hard. For many older adults, especially those who spend long hours sitting, this motion can be the difference between feeling stuck and feeling in motion. I once spoke with Jack, a former long-haul truck driver who had grown used to the sedentary rhythm of his days. When he started doing seated leg lifts during commercial breaks, he didn't expect much. But within 2 weeks, his legs felt lighter, his knees steadier, and most importantly, his spirit more awake. I thought I was slowing down for good, he said, but maybe I just needed to move differently. That's the essence of this phase in life, not giving up, but adapting with grace. Wall push-ups and leg lifts don't just move the body, they move something deeper. They remind us that strength is not only measured in muscle, it's found in showing up, in small decisions, in quiet persistence. They are, quite literally, steps forward, even if your feet never leave the ground. Sometimes it's the smallest gestures that hold the greatest power. A gentle squeeze, a slow, steady lift. Movements so subtle that they might go unnoticed by others. But inside your body, something begins to shift. In this chapter of life, where strength may not roar but whisper, two deceptively simple exercises, hand grip squeezes and seated leg raises, offer a quiet kind of victory. Not the kind celebrated with applause, but the kind that rebuilds your connection to life. One breath, one motion at a time. It's easy to overlook the hands when thinking about heart health. After all, they seem so distant from the chest, so unconnected to circulation. But within every squeeze lies a chain reaction, a cascade of vascular responses that help regulate blood pressure, improve circulation, and gently train the heart to relax. When you grip an object, a soft ball, a towel, even your own fingers, and hold it with intention, you engage more than just your palm. You awaken the tiny blood vessels in your hands and arms. You tell your nervous system, I'm still here. I'm still in control. For those dealing with hypertension or cardiovascular strain, hand grip exercises are a gift. They require no space, no balance, no movement of the legs or spine. They meet you where you are, sitting by a window, waiting for your tea to steep, talking to a loved one on the phone. In these ordinary moments, strength is cultivated, not by force, but by presence. I once met Clara, an 84-year-old woman who carried a small rubber ball in her purse. She didn't call it an exercise tool. She called it her lifeline. It keeps me grounded, she told me. 3 squeezes when she wakes up, 3 before bed. Over time, she noticed her hands felt warmer, her head clearer, her heart calmer. But more than that, she noticed she was paying attention again, to her body, to her breath, to the small ways she could show up for herself each day. Seated leg raises offer a similar kind of presence, but with a different focus. When you slowly lift one leg while seated, holding it for a few seconds, then lowering it with care, you're not just working your quadriceps, you're improving venous return. You're helping blood move efficiently from the lower extremities, easing the workload on your heart and reducing the risk of swelling, fatigue, and even blood clots. But beyond the physical benefits, there's a deeper emotional shift that often takes place. Each leg raise is a small declaration. I'm not done yet. For many older adults, especially those recovering from illness or adjusting to new physical limitations, this reminder is essential. I remember James, a 76-year-old stroke survivor who told me, when I lift my leg now, I feel like I'm lifting my life, inch by inch. In these gentle movements, there is nothing dramatic. No noise, no spotlight, just quiet effort, intentional rhythm, a return to self. And perhaps that's the most profound kind of strength, the kind that says, even now in this season of life, I still get to choose. I still get to move. I still get to matter. There's a quiet kind of power in reclaiming what once felt lost, not through grand gestures or dramatic change, but through the patient act of showing up for yourself, day by day, breath by breath. And when it comes to heart health, mobility, and emotional well-being in our later years, it's not the intensity of movement that matters most. It's the intention. It's the consistency. It's the choice to keep moving forward, even in the smallest of ways. What these gentle exercises have shown us, whether seated or standing, simple or subtle, is that the body still responds to care. The heart still listens when we call it back into rhythm. The muscles still awaken when we offer them even a flicker of attention. In a world that often associates aging with decline, these movements tell a different story, one of dignity, resilience, and agency. You don't have to run marathons to feel strong. You don't need a gym membership to earn confidence, and you certainly don't need to prove your worth to anyone else. What you do need, what your heart needs, is a reason to keep showing up. A reason to believe that you're not just surviving, but still actively participating in your own vitality. These small, steady movements are not just about circulation or muscle tone. They're about trust. Trusting that your body is still capable of progress. Trusting that healing can begin at any age. Trusting that even in stillness, something meaningful is happening. I remember a conversation with Paul, a 79-year-old, who had given up on the idea of exercise. I thought it was too late for me, he said. But once I started moving again, just a little bit each day, I didn't just feel better physically. I felt like I came back to life. That shift didn't come from intensity. It came from the simple act of choosing to try. And that's the invitation I want to leave with you. To begin again, not with force or pressure, but with compassion. To view movement not as punishment or obligation, but as a gift. A quiet daily reminder that your life still matters, your body still belongs to you, and your days are still yours to shape. So wherever you are right now, whether seated in your favorite chair, standing by the window, or lying in bed, I hope you feel the quiet truth woven through these words. You are not too old, you are not too late, and you are not alone. Start with what you have. Start where you are. One lift, one breath, one squeeze, and let that be enough, because it is. You are, always. In the quiet rhythm of aging, it's easy to feel like the world is moving faster than we are. The expectations we once placed on our bodies, how far we could walk, how long we could stand, how much we could lift, begin to shift. And yet, what we often forget is that health, strength, and vitality are not defined by speed or intensity. They are sustained through presence, through care, and through the belief that even small, intentional actions can carry profound impact. The 5 movements we've explored, each simple, each accessible, remind us of a truth that modern life tends to ignore. You don't need to go far to go deep. A seated leg pump is more than just a physical exercise. It's a message to your body that you're paying attention. A wall push-up is not just about muscle, but about pushing through mental barriers. A hand grip squeeze becomes a quiet affirmation that you still have control, and every lifted leg is a gesture of forward motion, both physically and emotionally. The lesson here is powerful. Progress in later life isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters with intention. By integrating even just one of these gentle exercises into your daily routine, you give your body a reason to respond and your spirit a reason to rise. It's not about returning to who you used to be, but honoring who you are now, with grace, with strength, and with self-respect. What's one small movement you can start today that reconnects you with your sense of vitality? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story, and your answer might inspire someone else to begin their journey too. And if you found this video meaningful, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that truly matters.